Dear mama, do you feel stressed out, tired, anxious, exhausted, overwhelmed? Does it sometimes feel like life is just too much? Do you wonder, am I doing a good enough job as a parent, or am I just failing absolutely miserably? Well, if you've ever had those thoughts, sis, let me tell you, you are not alone. I was completely drowning earlier this week. I felt extremely overwhelmed. And hi, my name is Alyssa. If we've never met before, I am a mom of 4 littles, aged 7 to 4 months old. So when I tell you, I know what it feels like to be drowning. I know what it feels like to be drowning. So it got to a point for me where I was completely overwhelmed, completely exhausted. And I don't know what you do when you get tired, but for me, I numb myself, which is not the right answer, not what you should do. But I will scroll on Instagram, or I'll binge watch Netflix, or I will get me some delicious Haagen-Dazs raspberry sorbet. But this week I got to a point where I was binged out. Like, I was over the entertainment. It was doing absolutely nothing for me. It was not satisfying me in any way. And we are gonna keep it super real on this podcast, okay? This is a judgment-free zone. There is zero shame. So like I said, I got to the point where I was tired of scrolling on Pinterest. I was tired of scrolling on Instagram, and I just realized this is never gonna satisfy me. This is not going to solve my problem. What I really need is Jesus. Jesus said, "Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy burdened, and I will give you rest." He also said, "Cast your cares upon me because I care for you." So that's what I did. I literally was like, Jesus, here I am. Here I am. I cast all my cares on you. Here are my worries. Here's my to-do list. Here's all the things that are going through my mind. I'm literally just dumping them on you, God, because I don't know what else to do. My mind was swimming with all the to-dos: getting the groceries done, doing the kids' hair, doing my hair, doing the laundry, house cleaning, cooking, dishes, etc. Fill in the blank for all the to-dos that us busy moms have to do, right? And I gave Jesus everything because that was all I had left. I felt so overwhelmed that I had nothing to give. Like, I had nothing to give Jesus. I was just like, this is all I got. And the good thing is that God met me there. He met me where I was at, and he gave me the next steps. When I focused on Jesus, he gave me peace. And just knowing that he was with me. In the book of James, it says, draw near to God and he'll draw nearer to you. And I just felt like in that moment, in my rocking chair, putting my kids down for a nap, nursing a baby, completely overwhelmed and exhausted, and just turning my attention towards Jesus. It was like I just felt his presence so near. So mom, maybe that's you. Maybe you're feeling tired, anxious, worried, stressed out, and completely overwhelmed by all the things that you have to do. If that's you, I encourage you to just sit at Jesus's feet. Like the Bible, when Jesus talks about Martha and Mary, it's like, Martha, Martha, you're so busy and distracted by all these things, but only one thing is necessary, and Mary has chosen the better. Mary was just sitting at the feet of Jesus, listening to his words. So today I encourage you to cast your cares onto Jesus. Maybe you don't have time to spend an hour in the closet every morning like you used to, or go on these super long prayer walks. I know I don't when my husband is busy working and I have to take care of all the kids. I have a 4-month-old, so I definitely cannot commit to doing that on a daily basis, even though I would absolutely love to if I had the time. But the good news is that's okay. And what I've learned after being a mom for the past 7 years, almost 8 years, is that God's grace is sufficient. His power is made perfect in weakness. We can come to God just as we are. God meets us where we're at as long as our hearts are turned toward him. It's like how Jesus met the Samaritan woman. Where did he meet her? He met her at the well. He met her at the place where she went to draw water or be refreshed, to be satisfied. He went to where he knew that she would be coming to the well. He knew the time of day she would be at the well. He knew her circumstances, and he positioned himself, he posted himself up right there. So when it was time for her to come and get water, he would be waiting. Jesus didn't post himself up in the temple where he knew that she was not allowed. He went to where she was welcomed. There's a verse in the Bible in Isaiah chapter 40 that says that God gently leads those that are with young. And I personally believe that God has a special grace for moms. He's gentle with us. He cares for us. He knows our limitations and he welcomes them. He's not up in heaven mad at you because you have to nurse your baby or change your baby's diaper or, do whatever, change their outfit because they had a blowout. God is not shaking his head mad. God loves us and he sees us caring for our children, sacrificing for our children, doing what we were created to do. And I just believe that God is so so pleased with us because we're laying down our lives for our kids the same way that Jesus Christ laid down his life for us. Again, Isaiah chapter 40 verse 11 says, he gently leads those that are with young. So that is what this podcast is all about. It's about God gently leading us who have young. It's about coming together as his flock to worship at his feet. It's about pointing our eyes to Jesus in the midst of our busy mothering. It's about comforting and lifting one another up in the Lord. I want this podcast to be a safe space for moms, a sacred place on the internet for us to just come together, lay down our burdens, and sit at Jesus's feet. Now, this podcast will not be one of those podcasts where you come to it and get tips on how to be a great mom. Because honestly, sis, you probably already are an amazing mother, okay? I know that you care about your children and are doing your absolute best. So this will not be one of those podcasts, but this podcast will really be a podcast about coming to, again, the feet of Jesus and resting in the finished work of the cross. Together, we can sit at his feet, await the Lord's return, and drink from the well of living water that never runs dry, that only Jesus can give. So if you are looking or desire an online community of moms who love Jesus, you have found one here, sis. You are welcome here. Subscribe to the channel, download the podcast, do all the things. And even if you're not a mom, you do not have to run off and leave. This conversation is open for everyone because young and old, God has put a mothering spirit within each of us, and we all need each other. We need each other in this sisterhood, in this community, in the family of God. If you are watching this on YouTube, drop a comment below. Tell us what your name is, tell us where you're from, tell us how many kids you have. Share how you are feeling stressed out or overwhelmed right now. Where are you exhausted? Where do you need God's grace to come in and lift you up and carry you? Put it in the comments. And I want us to pray for one another in the comments. Go down into the comments and find at least one person to pray for, and then once you pray for them, put a thumbs up next to the comments. That way we know that that person is covered. And we're gonna try to do that for every single person who comments down below. So find one that doesn't have a thumbs up next to it, pray for that person, and then put a thumbs up. So thank you for tuning in to the first ever episode of Grace for Moms. Please subscribe to the podcast and don't forget to comment down below and pray for somebody. I hope you go into this week knowing that you are deeply loved by God and that his grace is enough for you. Cast your cares into Jesus this week. Tell him how you feel. It could be when you have a moment on the toilet. It could be when you're driving in your car, picking your kid up from school. It could be during nap time. It can be in the shower. It can be whenever and wherever. God will meet us where we are. True worshipers worship in spirit and in truth. Cast your cares unto his feet because he cares for you. And if you want a printout of all the scriptures that I mentioned, you can click the link below and get a free download PDF of all the scriptures that I mentioned in this podcast episode. Again, my name's Alyssa. Thanks for watching Grace for Moms, and I'll see you all next week.